Sounds good. And did I need a deck of cards, or do you have some sort of, like, digital deck? I will then get that open and going. Why is that? Oh, I didn't. I thought you were building one, and then we were gonna play it today. I didn't realize we're supposed to build and play. I gotcha. Yeah, that sounds an awful lot like Soul Eater. I love it. That sounds awful, I'm gonna be honest with you. The dice are never kind to me. Should be great. Should be great. Yeah, I was a little concerned. That is good. That sounds like how I play Dark Souls. That's pretty impressive. I don't believe it.
Oh fuck, I didn't turn on Firebot. I'm just messing everything up right now. Doesn't help that it's summer and that our AC is not doing enough.
Have you checked your filter?
Well, I know that it works. It might be the filter, I guess, but like it warns me when that needs to be dealt with, so I don't see why that'd be an issue. Capture?
Does it really?
Yeah, it has a... Because we don't have, like, an AC. We have, like, a AC cooling unit in a window. It's that one. That's what I was meaning to click on. Oh, I should just move the Discord over to this side. I don't need to see the Discord, actually, because anytime you talk on my overlay, your portrait flashes up. Well, plus JK extra episode of 4-hour TRPG. Change the category to just chatting. I done fucked up. I should have made sure that they were actually aware today, but I went, oh no, they'll remember. I should know better.
No, we did have that whole conversation yesterday. I thought they would have noticed.
Yeah, that too. Well, good thing is... Oh, I gotta fix my fan. I have a small fan that I've put under my desk to kind of help with the AC unit not working too well. It probably doesn't help that it's like 100-something degrees right now.
Yeah, probably not. Does your complex not have AC then?
No, this one's so old that I had to sign a knowledge waiver about there being lead paint.
Really? They couldn't get rid of lead paint?
Or it wasn't... There was something about the construction that doesn't fly with modern-day construction rules. And you know landlords aren't... I don't know. I thought it was lead.
Landlords are scum. No, I mean, like, once upon a time they used lead pipes.
Yeah. So now the real question is, what the fuck do we do with a game system called Magical Handgun Kingdom using D20s? I guess we should figure out how does the D20 play into it.
It is a good question.
Because I don't want to do like D&D does, where it's like, oh, you need to roll this number and you have a huge modifier you add to it. Because, as you can attest, that doesn't go well for people who can't roll dice well.
Right? That does suck. I wonder if, I wonder, because the handguns are magical, we kind of do away with like a pass-fail system.
That's true.
And do a I don't know, something like a gradient, maybe, of how well you succeed.
How well you succeed. That should be. Yeah. Well, I guess Magical Kingdom, Handgun Kingdom, implies a lot already about the world. So the world could be magical. It could be a world with magical handguns. It could be both of those things.
I kind of the idea that the world itself is not innately magical, but the handguns are.
Exactly.
Makes me a little, yeah.
Let's go with that. No magic, but the handguns are. No magic, but the handguns are magic. Okay. Oh, did you ever see Outlaw Star?
No, I think I need to, but it's one I haven't seen yet.
It's one of those that was airing around the same time as Cowboy Bebop originally, at least in America. Because I know that I actually have a lot of viewers in England and Brazil, surprisingly. But
that is interesting.
I would say that Outlaw Star is more entertaining if you aren't having an existential crisis, and Cowboy Bebop is more entertaining if you are.
Okay, I can see half of that comparison.
Because they both have a very similar plot of you have a group of idiots, affectionate, in space doing space travel stuff. But one is more entertaining for people who aren't having an existential crisis and are entertained by stuff like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. Whereas Cowboy Bebop is just a vibe. It's a vibe. But in...
it for sure is.
Yeah, I love Cowboy Bebop. But in Outlaw Star, I forget what they're called. I've only seen like 2 episodes, and it was like 3 or 4 years back, so spotty memory already. But in it, the main character had a gun that you would load special cartridges in, and they would cast spells when he fired the gun, essentially.
Oh, interesting.
I think they were called catalysts? But essentially, it was just like, oh, I need to use fire, and it would shoot out a fireball or whatever.
Yeah, that reminds me of something else which I am desperately trying to remember now.
Oh no. The issue with memory is that I don't know what you're trying to remember.
You know what? Maybe... It might be Black Bullet. It's been a really long time since I've seen that, though. Or it might be...
While you're trying to think of that, I'm going to search Black Bullet.
Oh man, what's that PC RPG? Mass Effect. Because in Mass Effect, it was interesting because you changed the damage type by swapping out ammo.
That is a thing.
Yeah.
I have not played that since I was in high school.
I probably haven't played it since you were in high school either.
Because I had a friend who was obsessed with it and was like, you need to play through the first one and the second one so we can talk about it. So I played through them at his house and I was just like, okay, yeah, these are fun. But I personally am not huge into sci-fi. which is weird because one of my favorite genres is cyberpunk, which you think would mean there'd be a lot of overlap.
Yeah, there's some overlap. There's some pretty definitive distinctions between the two.
Yeah, I feel like sci-fi is more science-y, and cyberpunk is more tactile. Because, like, if you watch a cyberpunk show, you can kind of feel what that world would feel like, just from seeing it. I guess our next question is, how are the handguns magical?
So I was thinking about this.
Okay.
And I think they're intelligent weapons.
Oh, they're sentient. Okay.
And, they're mostly in...
They're mostly in...
I was trying to think, because I was thinking they need to find someone capable of wielding them.
Okay.
And that would tie into how well you would succeed.
Okay.
But they have their own agenda, but they can't do anything, because they're just guns.
Okay, before I forget, just in case so you can see the chat as well, I just gave you the Twitch link. Because we have, What's an Airport, one of my regulars, giving some ideas. I want to stick to the handguns themselves are magical, though.
Or we could try doing a one handgun to rule them all sort of situation where only 12 of these guns were made.
Oh, we could do like a battle royale with them.
That could be
battle
fun.
royale
that would
where
be a one-shot.
the contestants are the chosen wielders of the magical guns. You said 12. I think 12 is a good number. Because I feel like you could also build this to be, because it's a battle royale where you have we could have 3 classes, for example. 12 total magical guns. And when it starts out, there's 3 people and their class is gun. So I'm just going to do this. Classes. Enter. We're going to do these. We've got gun, obviously. Mage. What's a very funny thing to give alongside a gun and a mage? Oh wait, we don't have mages. Because we decided that the guns are the only magical thing.
No, you could leave it. You could also do, like, melee for warrior. Melee.
I feel like we changed mage to alchemist. Because alchemy is technically not magic, depending on how you use it. And this is also a kingdom, so I guess the winning team become the kings or queens?
Right, but it could be a shadow game too, like Highlander.
Oh, that's true. I'm just putting there can only be one.
I love it.
I need to rewatch that. I haven't seen that since like 5 years ago.
Alright. It's just as bad as it was then, but it's still Highlander.
Yeah, that's fair. Apparently that one has a lot of movies in it, and they are weird after the first one.
Yeah, and a TV series, which is arguably the weirdest.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Gun Alchemist Warrior is pretty good. So it becomes a game where you need 4 people, the game master and the players, because each of these fills a role. So I guess Warrior is obviously...
I think you might be thinking about that. So here's what I would say.
Yeah?
If this is supposed to be a one-shot...
Yeah, it's a one-shot. Would be the goal, at least.
I would say no DM.
Okay.
If we're gonna do this, like, arena style, I would say that each player places 2 or 3 pieces of terrain.
Okay. Terrain could work because you can just draw in Roll20 or get a giant piece of paper. Because the other thing is, it does need to be something that's relatively easy to get going. So, like, character sheets and as little prep as possible that couldn't be done for cheap. But terrain, again, you get one giant piece of paper, give everybody a marker, and go, okay. But yeah, Warrior, big damage. Alchemist... support. Gun.
Hey, real quick, I can't figure out where you linked that.
It's in our... So in the Discord, just click on the open the chat. Like where we're talking now. Top right corner, there should be the text bubble.
Oh, I got it. Thank you.
All right.
So I was thinking, so is this... So if we're gonna do, like, it kind of looks like you're leaning towards, cooperative.
I mean, that's what I thought was the plan, but if we're not doing a GM, then that changes ideas.
Not necessarily, because there's plenty of games out there that do, whoever draws the short straw is the, opponent.
Fair.
So you could have...
But does this give enough focus
I'm just
on...
trying to think this through.
But I also want the magical handgun to be kind of a big deal in the thing, because it's the name of the system.
Yeah. Which is why I thought it would lend itself to PvP, especially with the Highlander stuff. But I'm just trying to think, if we do go that route,
Well, this then leads to the problem of... This leads to the problem, though, of people who roll shit on dice are not going to have as much of a good time. Because if it's competitive, if somebody constantly rolls better than somebody whose average dice rolling makes it up to a 7 over one session, like somebody in this call...
I can appreciate that. Interesting.
Because part of the advantage of is if it's a GM'd game, whoever plays the gun class is essentially the protagonist, and the others are supporting cast. So what you could do is just like, maybe this could be a system that works for a one-shot, or it could be like a full campaign. Because you do 12 magical guns, you make it so that there's 11 magical guns outside of the main cast, or maybe 12. Maybe they get a magical gun in through the course of the first session. Maybe gun isn't a class. Gun is an artifact. I think that's a better way to go about it. And we just make it Thief, Warrior, Alchemist. Utility. And I feel like what we can do is dice pool. So maybe have 3 simple stats. Let's say they're... I'm just putting down ideas. We might not use these. Stats. You have...
No, you're good. I kind of like where you're going with this.
You have brawn... Or let's call it might. I like the idea of calling it might. So you have might... Craft, which is like being crafty. And... Well, craft would be alchemist, actually, I think. Because you're crafting potions. Subtle. We'll call the third one subtle. Like, say you have these 3 stats, and then you have equipment, and it's like weapon, armor, item. And we go down this where you can have a might between the... Let's say all of your stats are between 1 and 5. One and 5. So if you want to do something that uses might, and say you're the warrior, you have max might. So you have 5 might. You're going to roll 5d20, so that's 5 different die to roll. And then say your weapon gives you +2 to might attacks. Oh, I spelled armor wrong. Or, you know, bonus to attack. I'll just do it like this. Attack checks. You know, bonus to resist checks. Bonus based on item. So if you go into combat and you're a warrior, you want a good weapon, so you have more dice automatically just by being strong and having a weapon. But then if you're the alchemist, you're crafting things, so the items could be like different regions you would add, so you would add craft plus the item bonuses to make effects. You know, like fire, you have an entire tier that's just elemental. And the like, so that you could build like fire potions, or you could do healing or damage, or split it into healing, damage, other for like unique effects, like bigger areas, or I don't know. That has a chance of getting a little too complicated, though.
Yeah, that's kind of what we can come back to craft.
Yeah. And subtle is just being stealthy, sneaky. But then if you have the gun, I'm going to call it the gun in all caps. And we say that the gun just always rolls. We'll say no roll for if you have the gun. So you don't roll if you have a gun, because you have a gun. No roll. If somebody shoots you with a gun, you're going purely on your ability to resist the gun hitting you for a 20. Like, let's not do modifiers. Modifiers get complicated. No roll. Always a 20. I hate that this is a D20 system, because this is so much harder. Because if this was like a D6 system, that'd be perfect. Because, like, D6s are so much easier to work with. But the dice themselves said, fuck you. I feel like this is a little too much in the weeds. Let's pretend we're starting from scratch again. What is the magical gun? Like, what would the magical gun? Let's, like, try a new idea altogether, because I don't feel like this one might rip into our time a little too much to figure out. What is a magical gun, and how does the D20 work? Because, I mean, I have a D20 with me right now, because I have my dice next to me, but, I mean, 20 sides. We could treat the D20 as like a 50-50 chance of something, where if you roll even, something good happens. If you roll something odd, something bad happens.
An option.
I'm gonna just put maybe an even, good, odd, bad result. So, like, if we did that, for example, the magical gun, we'll figure that out later. You're just trying to do a check of some kind. If it's 1d20, you have a good or bad result. It's a 50-50 every time. But if you did a pool of d20s, so, like, say you ended up having 3 d20s, you do something, and you have more chances of success, but more chances of failure. So I'm going to roll 3 and see what happened. Well, I have DM
If you're
rolling skill, because I just rolled 3 evens.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna do it that way, then your chances for success aren't gonna change.
Oh, that's true. Or everybody has a 1 to 2 d20s. Like, we want to keep it to 2 at most. And instead of having initiative, so say like combat's happened, you have 3 different people, they're doing their attacks. All the d20s are put into like, are rolled to game. So everybody would need like a unique looking d20. So like a red, a blue, an orange, a black, whatever. And you roll them all at the same time, and that tells you kind of the outcome of, like, oh, so-and-so failed, so-and-so succeeded. No, that feels too complicated. Because I'm trying to think how to make it simpler, not more complex.
What we could do, where the guns are, maybe not intelligent, but more like legendary artifacts. And it could be one of the guns perhaps does always goes first, and then it could go in like a clockwise manner or something.
Hmm. Okay. Well, if we go down that way, we're essentially making a Mexican standoff video game. Or tabletop game.
Which isn't horrible if we want to keep it in an arena.
I mean, the way it could be is that your gun's always gonna hit. It's just a matter of whose hits first, and that's why you roll the d20. So whoever rolls the highest, their gun goes off first. I feel like... No. I feel like we're designing more of a board game than we're designing a TRPG if I go down that path.
Yeah, I fear I may have done that to us. One of those, yeah, like, card games. Like Munchkin.
Yeah. Okay, let's try again. Let's focus on the gun first. I guess... Are we trying to make this a fantasy thing because of Kingdom? Like, do we need a... Is our goal to stay in the fantasy genre?
No, I say we use that part nebulously.
Kingdom kind of just to mean the place this all takes. The setting is a kingdom. You're a part of the kingdom.
Yeah, or the guns themselves could give it... Like, you become part of the kingdom by having one of these.
We could instead go Excalibur, and whoever has the one magical gun is the king. Of what? Who knows?
We could. I read an awful book once upon a time.
Okay.
That had, magical swords in it.
Okay.
And
that leaves a lot of options.
I know, right? Each sword, or I guess in this case, guns, would have their own title and perhaps their own destiny tied to it. Yeah. So if you're going to have, like, one gun being the king gun, you could have a gun called, like, the Deceiver gun.
Should we just remake King Arthur, but with guns?
We could. Oh, we could. We could totally do that.
And it's literally just King Arthur, but with guns instead of swords. It's like that remake of Romeo and Juliet where it was guns instead of swords. With Leonardo DiCaprio in it. What's an Airport brings up a good point. The Glock in the Rock.
Yeah, no, it's magical. I like it.
Okay, King Arthur, but with gun?
So then the objective of the game could be using shit, I don't know, unifying the kingdom or finding the guns. Because I guess that was King Arthur's quest. He had to find his knights, right?
Yeah. So maybe one player is the equivalent of Arthur. He pulls the Glock from the rock.
Didn't he get his sword out of a lake?
That's true. The first one was in a lake. Gun Lady of the Lake. Like, a gun. It gives them a gun. Gun Lady of the Lake gives them a gun. What a sentence. And they are given the quest to find their knights. Given a quest to find their knights. Given a quest to find their knights would be good, or has their knights and needs to find their guns. So instead, so let's say if we go down that path, Arthur is the quest giver at the beginning of each session. And each one-shot session is finding so-and-so's gun. Arthur is the quest giver. He gives you the location of one of the knight's guns. And then it's just trying to get the gun for the whole session.
I kind of like that. Each player is like starts the game with a holster, and they have to find their gun to put in it.
That's really fun.
The Fae are distributing holsters throughout the land.
Yeah, if you get a holster, you know that there's a gun somewhere that fits perfectly. And only once a gun has entered a holster will it be usable. Otherwise, it's just a fancy paperweight.
I kind of like that. So what are you questing? Ended up with main character energy. I got a holster.
Yeah. Because like, Arthur could be the quest giver. Arthur might not even show up. You just get this... Faye gave you a holster. Go find your gun. Just... I'm going to put that in quotes. While we were having that entire conversation, it was playing A Fistful of Nickels from Final Fantasy VI, which is the theme for Shadow, who's the ninja. But for some reason, they made his theme a Western. So we just had a whole ass Western playing while we were discussing, oh yeah, the Fae gave me a holster. I gotta go find a gun now.
That's amazing.
I feel like that's a strong framework of, you know there's a gun somewhere, you're trying to find the one for your holster. You know, what if, so this is mechanic stuff. Mechanic stuff. One of my thoughts that I just had is, instead of weapons, you have one-use items. You know, rocks, rope, arrows, so forth. And each of them gets like a D20 associated with them. 20 associated with them. The goal for each item is different. Most items, let's say that you need to hit an 8. I feel like or a 6. Do we want to say 6 or 8?
It's a good question.
Well, let's say 6 for basic items. All of 6. However, the more useful items, or the more powerful items, because if they were useful, we'd actually want them to be a low number. Max out at, let's say, 12. Like, I want there not to be absurd levels you have to roll to succeed with any item. But a little less than 50% I think is fine. Because that's to hit a 12, you need to hit, I think that's a 40% chance to hit a 12. So slightly against you, but still mostly in your favor. On 20s, the item doesn't break. Oh, here's how we could do it. Even on failure, you... Oh, no, that's it. The number is their durability. Items have a durability if you roll equal to or less than the number, it breaks. If you roll a 20, you succeed wildly. Because that way, you're only rolling to see if your item breaks, but you always succeed in what you're doing. So if you're using a rock to be a distraction, if you roll like the durability number or less, the rock's just lost, or it breaks or something, and you can't use that rock anymore. You have to find another rock somewhere.
I like it.
Oh, you've turned into a robot, Cameron.
Mother trucker, really?
Okay, it seems to have fixed itself. So I'm actually going to do items, because I want to lean down this idea for a thing. So let's... Simple items. We'll say... I'll do this. Stuff like rocks. Rocks and... I want a second example of a simple item.
Sticks.
Sticks? Oh yeah, that's a good one. Stuff like sticks and stones.
That's where I got it, yeah.
Breaks on a 6 or less. Complex items. breaks on a 10 or less. Stuff like... I'll figure that one out. And then amazing things. Amazing items. Breaks on a 15 or less. So they're like really good and can do a lot of stuff, but you are almost guaranteed to break them every time. So it's trying not to break them. Let's say magical scrolls. Stuff like magical scrolls. So a complex item would be like, let's say rope. Rope and...
I don't know. I feel like that should be a simple item. Perhaps complex items could be more mechanical in nature or have more parts.
Rope, sticks and stones. Basically anything that doesn't have moving parts. So we could say swords, for example, could count as a simple item because they don't have moving parts. But if you had like a bow and arrow, that's got moving parts. You've got the string, you've got the bow, you've got the arrow.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm leaning.
And then amazing items are just...
Yeah, one-offs. I like how you start there. Magical scrolls, potions, or...
Because then it's just a case of, well, you could say that... let's say... And then we have... Obviously, we need to include the gun. Never breaks. So... You know, the gun never breaks, but it's a gun, so you can only really do so much with a gun. Never breaks. Only... Let's say they're all 6 shooters, because I think that's more fun. 6 shots per session. Or... There are only 6 bullets between the players. So it's a communal thing that everyone has... So this is kind of changing our plan with you're going to get your gun. But the idea of everyone has their gun, but every session they only have 6 bullets to use between all of them.
Interesting.
And I guess we should figure out stats then, because this does imply the need of stats. Obviously, I think we need to have HP of some kind. Feel like HP might be a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm kind of thinking of some sort of, like, perhaps a token-based system I don't know. I'll think on that.
Well, so if it was tokens, obviously you have 6 tokens representing the bullets. One second, I'm gonna grab a different TRPG book I have. Oh, where'd my headset go? Oh, fuck. It fell off the table. Or the desk. I put it on backwards. There we go. Any thoughts while I was finding this book?
Kind of. We could. I'm trying to think. So, if at this point in our thoughts here, everyone starts with their gun, right?
Yeah.
So, what if we tie the class to gun? So instead of starting with a class, you would choose the gun that you want to have, and then the gun is kind of what defines the role you play.
Okay.
Because if we're going to do Arthur as the quest giver, the gun holders as the knights.
Yeah.
We could style the guns. I don't know, it's because in a MMO I played once upon a time.
Yeah.
It was sci-fi.
Okay.
And because it's sci-fi and an MMO, then there's only so many ways you can show someone healing someone.
Yeah.
They decided to that shooting your teammates would heal them.
You know, that classic. The healing gun.
Yeah, right? The healing gun.
That could work.
And then for like the melee class or something, we could do like short range big explosions sort of thing, like shotguns or grenade launchers.
That's true.
And then rangers would be like long range.
Like a sniper.
Yeah.
So, I grabbed the book for Ragnarok Gods of Metal, which is a TRPG I want to run for one of the seasons we're going to do for Hex Club. But in it, it uses this thing called Tribute. Oh, we've got ads about to start. I'm going to snooze them so we can continue this thought. Then when the ads play in 5 minutes, we'll take a few minutes to stretch and all that. But in it, you get tributes, and anytime you're doing a check, you roll d4s, and it's a pool of d4s. You want to roll well, obviously. For every point you succeed over the goal, you add a tribute to the altar, and anyone can use a tribute from the altar to give yourself a bonus, essentially. We could we can make it so that the gun, say every session starts off with an amount of bullets equal to the party -1. So it's a lower number, but anytime they're able to do something incredible, they get a bullet. Does that sound like it could work, or is that just an idea we should scrap immediately?
Well, how many players do you suspect this will be built around? Because this is sounding like, I don't know, 5 people, 4 players and a DM.
I'm thinking it's got a range on players between 3 and 5.
Including our King Arthur person?
Well, I feel like King Arthur is like the quest giver, but he's not on the quest.
No, I meant as the DM. Like, the DM plays the role of King Arthur.
That's good, yeah. I just feel like...
I'm just trying to...
I think it's an idea that could work, but it would need a lot of futzing to make sense of. I feel like we stick with the 6-bullet idea. I think that's a little easier. Because we are trying to get a working prototype of a game done in the course of 4 hours. I don't think we have time to futz with an idea that could make sense.
I got you.
It's really that D20 thing that really has made this hard. Up until we figured out this breaking of items. The gun never breaking, there are only 6 bullets between the players. Let's... Bullets is a shared resource. So, gun you could use, like, whatever you do, you're gonna always succeed. But what I'm thinking instead, you can spend a bullet to succeed. Or you can... no, because we already decided the items break and you always succeed. No. But bullets as a shared resource feels like something that should be rewarded and be used as a reward and a punishment. For, like, the play-to-play game.
So then the guns are really only used as a jump card.
Yeah, because 6 is a really good number, because that's 6 times you can for sure succeed in whatever you're trying to do.
And that resets each session.
Yeah, because I'm imagining if it's a one-off campaign, 6 bullets for like a 4-hour campaign, which is 3 to 4 hour campaign, which is where we usually go when we record.
You know what?
Yeah.
I just kind of figured out a lore way to do this.
Yeah?
The guns are just purely a manifestation of your patron's will on Earth or in the kingdom.
A manifestation of your patron's will. Stand guns. Oh my god, they are. Ads are starting. They're gonna go for 3 minutes, so now's a good time, Cameron, for either of us to get up, stretch, use the bathroom, anything like that. These ad breaks essentially happen every hour, so...
I'll be right back, and then I'll have you explain what a stand gun is.
Okay, fair. I'll make a note of that while I'm refilling my drink. Explain stand guns to Cameron. Wow, these ads are taking a while to start. It says they're starting soon, but they are not starting. Huh, I wonder if you guys heard that one. There they go. It's just water going into my water bottle, but as I have mentioned in the past, where I live, the water is not good quality. So buying water bottles is the better option. But as I have also said in the past, I struggle with hydration, so I have to actually use special like powders that add hydration into water, which is a weird thing to realize exists. I mean, the benefit is that most of them taste really good, so there is the advantage of at least getting a really tasty hydrating drink. I just wish I lived in an area with better water so that I didn't have to spend money on water bottles, even if you can get a shit ton for cheap. Because I would rather, you know, water be free. Because it's water. Oh, I need to put my headset back on. Let's get some water shaking ASMR. Did that sound good or awful? Let me know.
Great, I'm back.
Oh, I just realized what the idea of is a manifestation of your patron's will. Fuck, I lost the thought. Oh, the whole point of every session is to gain enough favor with your patron. You're trying to prove that you're a worthy champion of the gun that you have been given. So instead of HP, let's say it was favor. And you you want to have, if you go into negative favor, that's bad. Bad things happen if you're in negative favor. But you can spend favor to make an item that you use not break. By raising the roll by 1 per favor spent. Spent, I mean. So you have this resource that you don't want to go into the negatives, but you can bump into the negative. So if goes negative, the GM Gunmaster. Perfect, we got there. The Gunmaster. Goes into the negative. The Gunmaster gets a unique ability they can trigger. No, if it goes into the negative, the Gunmaster gets bullets.
How about it can't go negative?
Okay.
And what if...
If 0...
I just got this idea because you're rating it under HP of some kind.
Uh-huh.
What if... your HP and favor counters are like the same thing?
Okay. So, if 0, you die. Is that what you're saying?
Or going to, like,
or
need critical attention sort of situation.
Or, if 0, your items break regardless of what you roll. Your items always break.
Because if we're going to have a healer type gun, then they can redistribute health.
Yeah.
Tokens.
I feel like what this means is that failure in game is not character screwing you over. It's something you don't want to happen in the world happens. So, like, you guys have a quest, and you are, like, doing the quest, and you can't succeed at the task that, like, you know, because every D&D game was always building up to, like, the big confrontation. So for every one of the tasks leading up to that big confrontation that you fail, makes that confrontation harder. And if you fail that confrontation, whatever the narrative goal you guys had is a messy success, if a success at all. Like you were trying to stop the rebirth of an ancient god, for example. And you fell, but you didn't, like, fail miserably. You know, by the end of the encounter, essentially, if everyone has 0 favor, the absolute worst thing happens. But if one person has 0 favor and the rest of the party is fine, you succeed in stopping it, but they still get something good even though they failed. Would that work? Because I'm trying to think of how stakes would come in, because you want some kind of stakes when you play games. At least tabletop games, especially if there's a story involved. Is that something?
Yeah, I think that the stakes in this case would be you're downed. How do you propose you regain favor tokens then?
I feel like favor tokens. That's a good question. Let's go down to here. Let's change tokens into favor tokens. Because we kind of figured this one out. So favor tokens. Also, your HP, we'll just put that there. I feel like if you have 0, you should still be able to do something, but your item's always breaking is a punishment enough that I feel like it works. But you can gain favor by... Oh, you know what? I know where this book is. It'll only take me a minute to grab it at most. Okay. So you can gain favor by... There's many game systems that use this system, by the way. The first book that I found is Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which is another system I want to run for Hex Club as a mini-season. Maybe a full season, if I come up with something strong enough. But in it, you play... It's a powered by the Apocalypse system. Based off of the TRPG Apocalypse World, I think is called. But in it, you play a playbook, and it gives you all these abilities, like the beast. They can go feral. They turn into like a half creature, and they're really scary. But where is it? There's the character sheets for these people. Or advanced rules. Okay. Glossary. Core rules 21. So page 21. So advances. So this is kind of how you gain experience. Anytime you get enough experience points, you get an advance. But we could use these as a jumping off point for how you can gain favor. So, okay, never mind. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for experience points. Oh God. Stats, making a move, okay, maybe it's a different section, sorry. I'm trying to find something, because I know it's in here. Looks like I want to jump to... oh God, I'm panicking trying to find it.
You're doing fine. Don't panic.
It says that it's on page 21, but 21, I'm not finding it. Oh, experiences and advancement. I can read. So a PC receives experience whenever they roll a 6, or when a move tells them to mark XP. Some moves instruct a PC to mark XP whenever a trigger condition is met. They can spend 5 to advance. Okay. So I'm going to turn to the Nature Witch character, because they have this thing called Trials, which sounds like something that would work for a fey creature. Recovery moves, okay, playbooks. Beast, Chosen, Devoted, Infamous, Nature Witch. Okay. How does this work? Trials. Okay, so... Ride a fantastical creature, win a duel, go somewhere no person has tread before, fall in love, stick up for yourself, though it breaks someone's hearts. I feel like this is a very loose thing that could be used. One example I like is anytime an item breaks, you lose favor. Or anytime an item breaks, you gain 1 favor. So it encourages you to accept failure by doing that, because you can always have at least 1 favor. And we can say every gun, capital G-U-N, has a special thing that will give you favor. So, like, what would the healer is? Healer. Healer, you gave up something to help somebody. Gave up something important to help somebody. And, like, you know, we maybe limit it to 5 classes for the guns. When we get to that, but... And then, like, the healer's ability, I'll just put this down here as healer. Can spend a bullet to give a player, let's say 2 favor, because it's using a bullet. So that can be a way to kind of help somebody in a pinch when you need them at the cost of the bullet.
Would you count that as giving up something important?
I don't think we allow it with the bullets. Well, no, because it's only 1 favor for them. They're giving up a bullet as long as... I feel like we have to add a stipulation, but yes. There has to be some kind of thing. No. Anytime you use a bullet, you should get favor. Because it's a limited resource that we already know just lets you auto-succeed at something. By making it so that anytime you use a bullet, you get 1 favor. I think is a very useful trick to use. Because it's only 6 free favor. And you're going to want to be careful with where you use it, because if you waste them all at the beginning, then the final confrontation of, like, that 1 session, you just have to rely on pure luck. And a willingness to give up favor. Yeah, I think anytime a bullet is used, any time a player uses a bullet, they gain 1 favor. Because you are also technically breaking an item when you use a bullet.
We could... we could make that a rogue characteristic.
How so?
The healer one.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of think of it as logistics.
Okay.
So instead of, like, having flanking bonuses or advantage, you'd be like, I'm gonna spend my bullet to give so and so. I think I'm confusing myself.
Yeah, because the way you're going down it, I was like, oh, so like you can give somebody advantage by giving up a bullet, but we've already said bullets make you succeed automatically.
No. So I'm thinking the healer skill you got there can spend a bullet to give a player 2 favor.
Okay.
Would be more suited to like a different supporting class.
That's fair, but we've decided that favor is HP.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking maybe no classes. And what you do is instead you have bullet abilities. And these are like outside of the you succeed automatically. We have favor, which is spend a bullet to give a player to favor. You gain one.
This.
Yeah, you gain 1 favor as long as you don't use this for yourself. So it already, that ability encourages you to give favor to other people because it generates more favor that way. I'll call it favor/healer because I'm not sure which will be a better name for it. Let's say repair. You know, spend a bullet to fix an item that broke. You gain 1 favor for using this. So say you had like a magical potion and you find out, oh fuck, we need that magical potion actually that broke. You can give up a bullet to have another magical potion.
I see.
Because I do think giving up a bullet should give you a lot of useful things. And I mean, we should just put success. Spend a bullet to succeed any check. Oh, well wait, you already succeed, so never mind, we don't need that. Because we've got that you always succeed checks. It's just if the item breaks. So repair is exactly what I was just describing. I feel like I'm going to put conflict here for what I'm about to put in. The conflict have a tracker that all players can see. Anytime a task is failed, not a check, because I feel like individual checks failing should not affect this, but if you are trying to, say, save a person, but you just can't figure out how to do it in time. No, that doesn't make sense either. Let's keep going. I'll keep adding, and maybe it will come around to what I'm trying to come to. The tracker goes up by 1. This would be a 3 to 4 hour session at most, so let's say at 10, the party loses. Anytime a task is failed, not by a check, the tracker. any time a player hits 0 favor, the track goes up by 1. Let's say not the party gets a mixed victory. They win, but the bad guy got something good, something useful. At 20, the party failed, and the bad guy wins. Succeeded. And you just make it so that if it's going to be an ongoing campaign, it's just small victories in like a war or something. I feel like answering this conflict is more important right now than it is. I feel like the track that can lead to full loss is enough that they're trying not to use, like they're trying to be very careful. But we're giving them favor anytime they break an item.
You can still have the counter, because I know some of the Call of Cthulhu board games use counters like that. If we just leave it at 10.
Yeah. I do feel like the counter is the right idea, because we need the stakes. The real question is, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, how do you... Because we've decided that you succeed at doing what you're trying to do, even if your item breaks. Because I want to keep that, because that's a very... It's more interesting that way, I think. You know what? I've got an idea to change this a little bit. Anytime an item breaks, you gain 1 favor, unless you roll a 1. Then you lose 1 favor. That makes it so that any dice roll still has the chance of going bad for you. But it's a 5% chance you'll roll a 1. Then you lose 1 favor and the check fails. Let's say that. There is a fail state, but it's a 5% chance. Because it's such a low percentage of happening, I feel like that's a fair choice that you don't succeed on whatever check you were trying to do, but only on a 5% chance. And then, you know, let's say if you roll a 20 on any check, you gain 1 favor and choose another player to gain 1 favor as well. So we make a nat 20 and a nat 1. Devastating and powerful, but not overwhelmingly so.
So do we want... Alright. If...
Because I feel like if you're always succeeding, we run the risk of the game not feeling like it matters with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I'm kind of hung up on that.
Or, you know what? No.
Because when I said that, it was kind of like the gun never fails.
Yeah, the gun never fails. I feel like the item's breaking. Oh, you know what it can be? So, the complex stuff, if these items break, the check fails. So, if you're using a complex item and it breaks, unfortunate. Okay, wait. I might have a solution.
Okay.
So if an item breaks, you fail the check unless you spend favor. So, if you fail the check, you can choose to spend one favor, one of your valuable hit points, to succeed. The item still breaks after you use it, but you still succeed at the check, and you spending favor is you describing how you make the failing contraption still work. Is that something that works?
Maybe, what if... I'm just trying to think things through here a little bit.
Yeah, because
if it's supposed to be like an open-ended TTRPG, then I don't think we need the counter.
Yeah. I mean...
with the pass-fail stuff, maybe... Because I think with that, the item durability really kind of depends, or let me see here.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, because if items have durability, then you always succeed, unless you spend, what did we say?
Favor.
No, because if it rolled, you scroll up a little bit.
Oh, excuse me. Well, I think if we change it...
So if they've got...
Go on.
Durability, I think that would take place. That's your, the negative, I forget what that's called.
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
The threat of failure, I think.
Yeah.
Durability would be your threat of bad stuff happening.
I feel like we're close to getting this, like, weird equation to work. Or, like, taking in... I like the shifting it to, if the item breaks, you can spend a favor to succeed. But if it breaks, you fail unless you spend the favor, could work, because it makes it so that the HP actually matters. Because if you hit zero favor, you can't succeed. Well, okay. So using this favor idea, so let's say you roll a check, you fail it. You spend 1 favor to succeed. Because you succeeded the check, even though you spent favor, and the item still breaks afterwards, you don't get favor for failing the check, because you succeeded.
I mean, I feel like in that case, the item could just be a failure and the item breaks. Like, we don't have to count that as a success.
Yeah, so using an item, you roll to see if you succeed. In the case of a failure, if you spend one favor, then it's a success, but the item breaks. So say you're climbing a rope, you roll a 5, so it's going to break. You spend favor so that you can climb the rope fast enough so that even though it's going to break, you get up there, you use the rope as intended. The item is gone, but you succeeded at the cost of your HP.
Well, perhaps rope. Could be a skill check, and if you fail, your health would count as durability. I don't know.
I mean, we're going down the same pathway, but in different sides of it. My thought process is, let's say you have 10 favor at the start of any encounter, like any session, not encounter, session. And every encounter is, you've got people against you, and they're setting challenges. Like, they do something, or they see you doing something to try and stop them, and they can react. If you fail the check, they do something that requires you to have to spend favor, or fail whatever you're trying. Okay.
So, what if we forget about pass-fail?
Okay.
Odd numbers, you lose durability.
Okay.
Numbers over 10 succeed.
I feel like that's adding too many gears into the clock. Because if we're having to track durability for items, on top of, like, you need to roll this to succeed, that's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. I think just tracking durability is going to be a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, so, like, say you have a rope, you fail the check, it breaks. Like, that's it. How it breaks is up to whatever the story would make sense, but it just breaks. You failed the check, it breaks. So instead you're just keeping track of your inventory. So you're like, I have a rope, I have sticks, I have a rock, I have a bow, I have a sword. I have, like, all these 1 items, and as long as it doesn't break, I can keep using it as I see fit. But the moment it breaks, it's useless.
we could just say...
Okay, let's... Because I feel like we've got the story. The D20s have to work in a certain way. We tried items, got too complicated. We tried even/odd. Didn't feel like it worked. Didn't feel good anyway. Pass/fail. Not sure how to square the circle. Favor is important. I feel like favor is like, that is a strong thing we need to build around. Instead of trying to work everything into favor, we need to start with favor and work out.
What if we count favor as everything? Item durability, player life, actions.
The everything stat.
Failure could be rolling less than a 5.
Okay. What does failure mean?
Failure, you lose a favor.
On a fail, lose 1 favor. Okay.
You can say everyone starts with 10 favor. 20.
10 to 20 favor. I'll just put would need play testing for the exact. Because I feel like that's just something that we would just need to see it in action to see if it would work. So you start with that. Anytime you roll a 5 or less, you lose favor. Okay.
5 or more could be a gain favor.
I feel like...
Or not 5 or more, not 5 or more, sorry. 15 or higher would be gain favor.
15 plus gains 1 favor.
Because we could kind of say the successes are your patron's will.
Yeah.
So every time you succeed, it's because your patron
allowed it or willed it.
It doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter.
You succeed. Like, that's the important thing. So favor is the everything stat. Failure results in a... Failure is rolls of 5 or less, you lose favor. You have 10 to 20 favor, we'll figure that out. 15 plus gains you favor. So that leaves a middle ground of 6 through 14 that are... You just succeed. Or, you know what?
Yeah, succeed with no... Yeah.
I figured it... I think I know what we're... I'm going to show you... I'm going to try this. Failure... Partial success. Success. So by doing this, we say this one is 15 plus. And this one is 5 minus. And then you've obviously got 6 through 14. So failure, you fail spectacular. You fail. Nothing, everything goes bad. Partial success. You succeed, but at cost. At cost. And, you know, either lose favor, the item you used, or the bad guy gets an advantage. And I feel like the bad guy does not roll dice. I feel like the gun master does not roll dice. At least to, like, see if you succeed or fail. I think it needs to purely be on the player in this regard. But everything goes bad. You lose favor. You lose favor. The item breaks, and the bad guy gets an advantage. So, 5 or less is really bad to roll, but usually you'll succeed at a cost. But something will be a detriment to you unless you roll a 15 or higher. You succeed and gain 1 favor. So it makes it so that most of the time you're playing, because partial success is the most likely to be rolled, it's a push and pull. Because you have your favor, and that's your, like, everything stats. As we've decided. I'm going to get rid of, or the bad guy gets an advantage. We're going to change it to this. Because let's just say you have items they don't break. So, the way I'm thinking of this is it makes it so that, let's test with the tracker again. Failure. Enemy tracker. Let's call it that or something else. Tracker. Every encounter has one. I'll spell it as 1, not 1. Every encounter has one. The number changes. So, like, say an easy one is like 5, or a hard one is 5, and an easy one is like 20. And every time they move on this tracker, they're getting closer to winning the encounter. Oh, you know what it is? I think I know how to make enemy tracker and hero tracker. So, every encounter has one. The number changes. The heroes are trying to fill their tracker before the enemy fills their tracker. No, I'm adding more gears in. That's a bad idea.
No, I kind of like the tracker system you've got going on here. What if...
You know what? The tracker starts at 0. Heroes need to get a positive. Let's say 5. Let's say it's 5 on either side. Heroes need to get -5. Villains need a -5.
You know what?
Go on.
You're gonna hate me.
Say it.
I say we get rid of the tracker.
Okay.
So here's my thoughts. With the
gonna...
partial success,
Yeah.
I say that changes to initiative. Players always start.
Okay.
Whenever someone rolls between 6 and 15, the other team takes a turn.
Oh. Partial successes give the enemy a turn.
Yeah, so if I were playing and I rolled a 10, I would make my shot, but the other people would go.
Okay.
And so you would then start rolling until you rolled between that range, at which point the next player would go.
Okay. So that would make a push and pull to any combat or challenge. And like, well, in case of environment being the enemy, nature takes over. So, you know, nature itself can be a force to deal with.
You know what? And we could say the aggressor goes first. If that makes sense.
Aggressor starts. Because that does make it so that if the party gets ambushed, it puts them on the back foot still. Okay. And we've already decided that partial success is just going to have you going back and forth.
Yeah, I think they like that better than succeed at cost, because you still succeed, but the cost would be they then go.
But it becomes the enemy's turn. Okay. So you succeed and gain favor. I think we changed to you succeed. It's
No, we can leave it.
Okay.
It would just progress to your next teammate.
Okay. But I'm saying change it to you succeed. Your team go to your team goes next. Instead of gaining favor.
Well, then should we take out the lose favor in the failure situation? Or we could say failure would be you just lose favor. And the success is just gain favor, and that would count as critical failure, critical success.
Okay.
Because if partial success depends on, or decides who goes next, what do you think the advantage would be?
I feel like maybe what we do is anytime it switches to the enemy, the players lose. No, I feel like we're close.
Alright, I'm just thinking that we need some way to regain favor, and that was just kind of my solution. But we can come back to that and move on.
Let's try something else. Let's start with favor again. Players have 10. Let's just say 10 for now. Players have 10. if favor hits 0, what happens?
Incapacitated.
Incapacitated. Let's say can't gain favor until the encounter is over.
I don't know about that part. Let's see, because if...
Can't...
Tricky.
Can't do anything unless they are given favor. So that brings in the healing aspect of the bullet, where you can give somebody 2 favor.
Yeah, I like that more.
So it makes it so that basically they are useless unless you give up a bullet.
Because we could change... If we considered favor as, like, an activation cost...
Okay.
Like, that would be your currency for, like, doing things? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Favor is the everything stat, as we said earlier. So, that means HP and MP. Each class, so I'm going to go down this train of thought. Each class has abilities that they can use by spending favor. So, it makes it so that staying at 10 favor is unlikely.
Ideally, yeah, because, like, you need to be spending it, too. Because I don't think you should be able to go over it.
Yeah. So 0 makes you useless unless you use a bullet. I feel like we just needed to... I think we need to adjust the bullets, so I'm going to do this. Bullets. We need to limit them to 2 to 3 abilities they can do, I think. Healer. And I'm just going to put give 2 favor. We're no longer going to do it so that if you use a bullet, you gain favor during this idea process. So you have healer. Something. But, you know, bullets are there, so we have them. So let's... Okay, focusing back in on favor. Magic bullets. Everybody has a gun. And they can use their gun for their combats. But it just does rolling checks. Okay, I have an idea. Combat. Each enemy has between 2 and 5 HP, or favor. They don't spend favor to use abilities. Because we're setting them at 5. Anytime an attack hits, they lose 1 favor. And then obviously they hit 0, they're dead. At 0, they die incapacitated. Okay. Weak enemies only have one unique skill outside of attack. Bosses have 3. Boss enemies have 3 unique skills. Like, say for example, a boss could have reinforcements. They bring in 1, 2, or 3 reinforcements into the encounter. But they are only to favor, for example. And that number is determined on... Or they bring in 1 or 2, you roll a die, even or odd, they bring in, like... If you roll an odd, you get 1. If you roll an even, they get 2. So it's a way to keep the pressure on during big fights, so that people need to be taking out the minions throughout the fight, while still trying to take out the boss. Because, say, the boss has 5 favor, you have 3 minions with 2 HP. Oh, fuck, another minion just joined the fray. Now there's 4 minions. So it keeps the pressure on the party.
You could just have that tied to that pass-fail we've got, where...
Okay.
If they roll less than 5, it doesn't work. 6 to 16 would be 1.
Okay.
16 to 20 would be 2. I think that would just be the ability, like...
Yeah, okay. So, let's say attacks as like an action, you've got 5 minus is a miss. 6 through 14 is 1 favor.
15.
No, because 15 plus.
Right, no, it's 16 plus, because it'll be 16, 17, 18, 19, or 20.
16 plus is 2 favor. So that makes combat very simple, in that if you roll bad, no damage. If you roll the middle range, you do 1 damage, and if you get lucky, you do 2 damage. So if you're taking out a minion who has 2 HP, they're gone. If you roll a 16. Oh god, we're in an ad break. I did not notice. We still have a little bit of ad break left. I need a pee.
Same, we'll be back.
Okay. Do we just want to throw out the magical bullets? Guessing he is in the bathroom. Oh, God. Three phases. Combat. Explore. Interact. Oh my god, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we're running down a path that's going nowhere. Because, I mean, we have 5 minus, fail. We got fail, 5 minus. Success. 6 through 15. And critical 16 plus. So that's what you kind of gotta do. Combat.
I'm back.
High. Miss. 1 favor. 2 favor. Explore. Find nothing. Find what you're looking for. Got an idea. I'm just trying to figure it out before I start explaining it. Find nothing, find what you're looking for, find extra stuff. Interact. If checks used. I think that's an important distinction on this one. So get nothing, or get misdirected. So that's like if you fail, you get misdirected. Get the info you need. Or get info needed and a clue. Because there's phases in any game that you play, usually. You have combat, if that exists, exploration, and interactions. So, my thought is, we figured out combat pretty easy. Failure is a miss. Success is 1 favor worth of damage. A critical is 2 favor worth of damage. Exploring, if you fail, you don't find what you're looking for. If you roll a success, you find what you're looking for. And if you do a critical, you find something extra. If you're interacting with people, usually you won't be making checks. But if you're trying to get, like, information they don't want to part with, if you fail, you don't get what you want, and you end up spending more time trying to get what you're looking for. If you succeed, you get what you're kind of looking for. But if you succeed wildly, you find some extra stuff.
I like it.
Okay.
I think if we just use that one map for the entire system, that'll be fine. So these would be great examples of, like, perception and the charisma rolls or whatever we decide to do for skills.
Yeah, and we can say, let's go into class. Let's do it simple. 3 ones. You have Fighter, Explorer, Charmer.
I think it's Fighter, Mage, Thief.
Okay, fair. I'm gonna stick with these for now.
Because of that one game.
Yeah. Let's say Fighter, they can crit on, they crit half the time in combat. So you make it so the Fighter does really good in fighting. The Explorer crits in exploration by rolling an 11 plus. Just gonna copy that. In conversation, so that way each class has their skill that they're really good at, but they're not, like, amazing at anything necessarily. They just have a 50% chance crit in certain situations.
I like it.
Because that way it makes the Fighter very powerful in combat, but still able to help outside of combat. Outside of combat, here's an idea. This one I might get rid of. Outside of combat, 2 people need to succeed on the check. If one crits, but okay, so outside of combat,
I think we just use the same system, but, like, you can do a help action by adding to.
yeah, outside of combat's kind of complicated.
Because, like, you can still roll outside of combat. You would just still have to roll above
You
15.
just, yeah, you have the harder crits. That's right. I'm just trying to think through this all. So that makes exploring and talking to people less central to the game. But by doing that,
depends on the GM.
That's true. It means that combat is going to be more crunchy, which is fair. So let's go down this one. Enemies. So let's figure out their combat. We already know. Attacks. Let's say bosses get 1 or 2 unique ability. Get 1 to 2 unique skills. Attacks. Bosses get 1 to 2 unique skills. Favor range of 2 to 5. Bosses are never alone. Are never alone unless the party can sneak up on them. Even then, they can get reinforcements. Oh, excuse me. So that just figures out their combat. But let's say exploration, if an enemy's involved, could be enemies, could, or nature, or the environment. Could be enemies or the environment. So, like, in exploration encounters, they're still technically in a combat of sorts if they're using dice. Environment. Yeah, I think exploration's good there. Talking. I'm just gonna call it talking. If the NPC isn't friendly. The NPC isn't friendly. They will try to misdirect the players. In that one, they're just trying to misdirect. They don't do dice rolls during the talking sections. Could be enemies or the environment. If actively trying to stop the party, then they will roll. Does that make sense?
I feel like you might be overthinking this. Because you could leave exploration at the environment.
Okay.
And for Charmer, you would say, or for talking, you would say NPCs.
If NPC is in... fuck it. Okay. Wing it.
Well, because in TTRPGs, either gonna have, like, the checks are the same, right?
Yeah.
So when you're talking, if you're trying to talk to the bad guys, like, the GM still decides if they want to talk.
That's true. The environment, NPCs.
So, like, your explorer skills could still be the environment, whether that's, I don't know, lock picking, cartography, or tracking.
Yeah.
Charmer would be against people, whether that's getting better deals from the market or trying to bribe or intimidate or whatever Charmers will do.
Yeah.
And then combat, I feel like, is pretty hashed out there.
Yeah, okay. Giving it so that the classes only have the one unique ability, I think, is smart, because it makes it simple. And now it's just a case of, you know what? Let's add in items outside of unique things. Outside of artifacts and magical items, assume the players have it. Outside of artifacts Specialty items. Specialty items and magical items. Assume the players have it amongst them. Between them. I feel like that's a fair decision. I'm going to make this a whole own page because I feel like we're getting closer to the right spot.
We could assign items classes as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's say the fighter... Their unique fighters' unique items. Explore. I'm just going to fill this in if you want to just start throwing things out.
Well, so I'm thinking like fighter items could do damage, or items marked as fighters could do damage. Explorer items would change the environment, and Charmer's items would affect the PCs.
Okay, so we're saying the Charmer is essentially the support, in that they would have like
so in
healing
this case,
items.
they would use items. Yeah, right.
Healing items. Healing items. Let's just put healing items for there. Explorer's items is traversal items. Because you could technically use traversal items in combat.
Right.
So
like
that
I
works.
was thinking stuff like yeah.
So like
they would use things that change the field of battle, so they could be, what's that class called? Like the CC specialist. So in combat, like caltrops or something would be the exploration item.
I'll say caltrops. Caltrops is like, let's say they have 3 different items of these like types. Just automatically. So they have caltrops, which work like caltrops. Do we want to say ball bearings?
Sure. I think that would be the same thing as caltrops in this game.
That's true. I'll do it like that. So you have caltrops, ball bearings, fire, water. Let's just call it fire water, I guess.
Molotov would also work, I guess.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
You'd think I would think of Molotovs, of how many times you fucking use Molotovs in Season 0 of Hex Club.
Yeah, I mean, they're great.
You guys found so many Molotovs just because they're so simple to make. In the way we were running the game, at least. Healing items. Let's say potions. Let's just say potions in general. Oh, and that, you know, the way that it works is in combat, you can attack or use an item. You can't do both. And that's how we make these not overpowered to have. Let me go up to here. Or use an item. So I'm gonna put attack like this, parentheses, and that kind of is just our signifier. Or use an item. Yeah, that works.
Well, because
What's up?
if you really want to, like, simplify this, you could just say use an item. So the fighter, for example, would use a sword.
That's true. I feel like keeping attacks separate, though, will be a lot easier, because then we're having to give, like, all these unique descriptions to all of these items instead. Because a Molotov technically
Right, we could create really nebulous rules.
Yeah.
Where we decide if the item affects a person, affects the environment, or affects people.
I think just going with Caltrop, ball bearings, Molotov, and one other item will be enough for the Explorer, because the Molotov technically can be used for combat, but it also can be used to change the battlefield. If a player says, I have this item, I could use it for this, I think we just let them, they have to roll a check. Because you either attack during your turn in combat, or you use an item. You don't do both. So, if they attack, they use their main weapon, which is a gun. Let's not forget, everybody's wielding a gun.
That's fair. That is fair.
So it's not like they're gonna... It's gonna be a Western shootout. It's a Western shootout set in medieval England.
Something, right?
I think we forgot about that absurd specific detail.
The gun is why our players are able to do all these things.
Yeah. So caltrops, ball bearings, Molotov, potions for the healer just in general. Because using an item to use a potion and you say you have an unlimited amount of potions, it's fine. Or unlimited ball bearings, unlimited caltrops, unlimited Molotovs, because... I mean, the Molotov, you throw the Molotov, it's just going to be attack. It's not going to do extra things. You just decided to throw a Molotov instead of shoot somebody in the face. But what's the fighter's unique items? They're damaging items, but what would those be?
So I think I'm trying to explain it poorly. You know how the French assign pronouns to objects?
No.
Oh.
I don't know French, well, Cameron.
In French, things are either masculine or feminine.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is items are either fighter, explorer, or charmer.
Okay.
And so, like, for fighter items, if they cause harm, that would be the descriptor. And explorer items, if they change the environment, that would be an explorer item.
Okay.
And if they affected a PC or NPC, that would be a charmer item.
Okay.
Does that...
Yeah, well, their items... Yeah, I think this works. We'll just leave it as this simple one. Let's not give examples. Let's let the players figure that shit out.
Yeah, and that's something you could say, because for, like, the Explorer, them using a Molotov could be vastly different than a fighter using a Molotov.
That's
like,
fair.
You'd still have to... Like, the Explorer's Molotov, for example, would create a control zone, where the fighter's Molotov has to just fire damage.
Let's do... Traversal / environmental. I misspelled that. Instead of healing, let's do buff, debuff, healing items. And
I love it.
And we'll just say, I'll make a debuff and buff section right here that's buffs/debuffs. Adjust the numbers to roll by 2. So if you're debuffing an enemy, it's harder for them to succeed. If you're helping your ally, you're making it easier for them to succeed. 2's a good number, I think.
I do like... Yeah, I was going to say, I like 2 being the modifier. Just across the board.
Yeah, I'll make a section that's just... modifiers in general, multiples of 2. But do the buff debuff as its own thing, 'cause somebody will probably get confused. So, you know, like healing 2 favor. Because odds are, in any given encounter, unless you have done good at defeating all the minions, you are outnumbered. So 2 favor is not a whole lot, but it is enough to survive. And we just give like those as examples so that if people are confused, they can be like, oh, this is what they mean.
Well, we could try leaving it, because up in combat you have fail 1 and 2 favor.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be the same for healing.
You're right.
And if
healing,
minions only do...
healing, you go 0, 1, 2. If you fail on the item, you don't get favor. If you succeed, you get 1. If you crit, you get 2. Yeah, that's good. But they're the charmer, so they only need to roll an 11 or higher to do the 2 favor.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So...
And then minions can always do just 1 favor worth of damage.
Yeah.
And bosses have their abilities that determine
crits in combat or while using unique items. That's times. I can spell. Because I feel like we just need to add this specific statement into the rules just so that it is a little more... Just so that the players know that they want to lean into what their character is supposed to be good at. And also so that the GM doesn't get confused. Crits in combat or while using unique items. I think that's good.
I think unique items could be like rule-breaking items, and that would make them unique.
Oh, you're right. So...
Because we could still leave crits in combat when rolling 11+.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fine with, like, the kinds of abilities. Like, the Charmer's items could also be magic they're using. Like, oh, I'm casting hurt on this person so that they struggle to do something.
Or... yeah. Or slow.
Yeah. And, like, they get to choose the flavor of how it does it, but its effect is consistent.
I don't know, because if we're going to add harm to the Charmer, then we should also add harm to the Explorer.
Well, buff and debuff are different than harm. Because buffing just makes somebody better at doing something, and debuffing makes them slightly worse at something. It doesn't...
Right.
It doesn't hurt them. It doesn't do favor damage. It just makes it so that your friend, say I was playing with you, and you've been, for some reason, doing really good for you and been rolling 9s consistently, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to buff you because then your next combat check, you roll an 11, you're the fighter, that'll be a crit.
Yeah.
So it lets the Charmer be the support class. The Explorer is more of the manipulating
CC.
the... Yeah. And then the fighter is just, I'm good at punching shit. Or in this case, shooting shit.
Because they can all still attack. They would just not do as well as the fighter.
Yeah, so like, in combat, everybody can be shooting the same guy, but the fighter's going to be more consistently to be doing 2 damage instead of 1.
Yeah, I think I needed to say that just to remind myself.
I actually
For some reason, I started thinking that they can only do...
Yeah. So it's 0, 1, or 2. It's just a matter of some classes are more likely to get 2s in situations versus others.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm going to change this to the 0... Oops. 0... God damn it. I am missing every key on my keyboard. 2 favor. So it's... To use an item, you still have to roll the check. And it does the 0, 1, 2 favor. Healing, but instead of this, bonus / penalty. So that means even if the Charmer uses their debuff ability on an enemy, they might roll bad and only do 0 or 1.
Yeah.
And if we're setting it so that any enemy has a max of 5 favor, if the party gets lucky and focuses fire on the boss, they could, in theory, end the battle early. But you give them unique abilities that are like, oh, the first attack against me is 1 degree weaker. But it only is like per round or per combat that triggers. So it seems powerful, but it's not a consistent ability that's annoying to deal with. It's just, we need to get past their armor. Hey, their armor's gone. Let's fuck them up. And it lets the Game Master set up an enemy who technically has more than 5 HP, but still lets them have 5 HP.
Yeah, we could kind of do a CR system, for example, where the CR would be half of the player's total favor.
Yeah.
And if minions only do like 1 favor worth of damage,
yeah, like
we
let's
could say
let's
10.
Did I have a section for enemies already? I did, but I'm going to do combat, and then we're going to go minions. Minions, 1 to 2 favor max, 1 to 2 favor. So that means that a minion could, in theory, have only 1 favor, so the healer could be like, well, fuck, we got a lot of minions. Bang! There goes 1 minion. 1 to 2 favor max. They attack. It's hit or miss. Hit or miss. So, for them, let's say 5 minus is a miss. Miss. 6 plus. 1 favor. Or hit. 1 favor. So a minion can never do 2 damage to a single player.
You know, maybe they can. They don't have classes.
Okay. That's
so
true.
they're still gonna follow the same combat rules that the players do, but they can't. The chances of them rolling for 2 damage is still only 25%.
Yeah, you do it like this. So that's a minion right there. They have low HP. You know what? For the minion, let's actually make it so that they're more likely to miss. Let's say 8 minus. Because it's still more likely to hit 50% of the time, but it's not as consistent as, say, a boss. Or let's say mini boss for an enemy type. And they're going to have 2 to 4 favor. Their attack is 5 minus, miss. 6 through 15, hit, 1 favor. And then 16 plus, crit, 2 favor. And then if we do boss, they have 5 favor always. 5 favor. 2, let's say 2 unique abilities. And they are... well, we can make a list of unique abilities, actually. Because I have like 4 or 5 in mind that could work as them, and then they only have 2, though. So it keeps them from being a pain in the ass. And then they get the miss, same as normal, 6 through, let's say 13. We're giving them a slightly higher chance of getting a crit, but not a absurd one like the players get, where it's a 50-50. Because it makes the boss still feel more powerful without letting them feel overwhelming. And 14 plus. Crit, 2 favor. So, do it like that.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
What if we follow the same combat rules on all 3?
The what?
Except on minions. What was that?
What did you say? You went robot for a moment.
So I'm thinking that we... Is this better?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we follow the same combat rules in the series.
The what series?
So minions would only ever do... So the rolling stays the same.
Okay.
But the mini-boss gets 1 unique ability,
okay.
And the boss gets 2 or 3 unique abilities. And the unique ability is triggered on the 16 plus.
Okay.
One's doing more damage on their 16 plus. They could activate their ability on 16 plus.
Okay. So I'm gonna make it a little more complicated, but not too much more complicated. 1 unique activated ability, so that when we get to the ability list, that one requires them to roll a certain number to be able to use it. 2 unique abilities, because there will be, so you have, I'm going to just do unique abilities, like this. You have activated on a, like, for example, instead of making a list right now, On 16 plus, they deal 3 favor instead. But then you have passive. For example, armor. You have +1 favor. So if you want to make a boss who's a little more tanky, you give one of the unique abilities to the passive armor, so you get the +1 favor. Okay, no, let's take off that part, but split them into unique or activated versus passive abilities. So that there can be some that are just, they adjust the ability, or activated.
I like where you're going with that.
Like, for example, let's do this as a bullet so it's easier to keep it separated. Reinforcements. Let's say that, let's make this one a way so that an interesting ability, so that when they fail a check, so let's see, that's what, 5 minus? 5 minus, you summon 1 minion with 1 favor. So it means even if they're failing, they're still kind of being a threat, so you want to deal with them. But they can't bring in more than 1 minion at a time, and they're only doing it when they fail a check. So it sucks that there's more people, but I didn't get hurt and a person came in. Like, that's something we could do. Let's say powerful for this on 16 plus. Let's call it on crit. 3 favor damage instead of 2. And I am definitely putting armor in here because that's a very simple one. +1 favor total. I think we should just come up with 3 for each of these, activated and passive. So do you have any ideas for either?
We could... For an activated, we could say minion takes turn.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah. Command. Let's call it command.
I like it.
What is the activation rule for that, though?
The activation is rolling +16.
Okay.
Right. Because that's how they're using their unique abilities. Activated is on +16.
Yeah, I'm saying on crit because if a boss takes it, their crit's a little bit different than +16. But on crit, 1 minion attacks. Because
But you could change the boss crit to still be 16 plus. Like if we're all following the same combat rules, the bonus is they have different activated ability or unique abilities they can have.
Okay, yeah.
So like a boss would have 3 unique abilities.
Yeah, because they
and
could...
any boss would have like 1 unique ability.
That's fair, because if somebody wanted to build a boss who's just scary in combat, they would take all of the activated ones, but they don't have all of the passive abilities that are really helpful.
Well, not necessarily, because a passive ability you do for armor, you could be like +1 minion health. So all the minions, instead of having 1 favor health, would have 2 favor health. Or if you wanted armor for them, you could call it bulky and be +3 favor.
+1 favor total to enemy force. No, that's not how I'd word that. +1. I think I'm going to leave it as +1.
+1 minion favor.
Yeah, +1. But what I was saying is if somebody wanted to build a scary one, they could take all of these activated of the 3 we've kind of built. Because that means on a miss, hey, there's a new minion. On a crit, they do more damage. And on a crit, one of the minions gets to attack. Is what I was meaning by that.
Yeah, we should rewrite reinforcement, because it'd be on +16 you summon a minion.
Okay. But I am going to change the language to on crit and on miss when we do things, just because it's easier than 5-. And we'll just have a section.
Fair.
We'll just have a section that's like, hey, here's how you roll dice. You use d20s. 0 through 5, or 1 through 5, is considered crit or fail. Then, you know, just do the same thing.
You. I love it.
Just so it's...
I'll change my wording to match.
It'll make it a little easier for it all.
Yeah.
Armors, minion, favor, total. So that just means all minions are a little bulkier.
Yeah.
So let's
change... And then you could say...
Let's change this to 1, because unless they take the armor passive, then they have 1 favor.
Yeah, and then you could delete the rolling rules for all 3.
Yeah. Because we'll just have that literally as its own section.
Yeah.
Which will make it a lot easier. Because this just gives us... They have 1 favor, they have attack. They have 2 to 4 favor, a unique ability, and attack. Bosses have 5 favor and attack. And we'll just have a section that's... Here are the abilities everybody has. Attack, and you do the explanation of how attack works, and so forth. Because once this next ad break happens, and after we come back, we'll want to have about a full hour to just lay out what it's actually going to be.
Gotcha.
So that we can have it in a playable state that I can upload. So we should figure out these passives. Because armor, +1 minion favor total. Perfect.
Fortified +3 favor.
Yeah, but this one we'll say is for the boss only. +3 to...
No, I don't see...
I don't see giving the minions a lot of favor as a good choice.
No, that's for the... That's for the taker. That's not for the minions. Armor is specifically for the minions.
We'll change it to armorer.
Okay, I like that.
Just because armor implies that it should be for me. Armorer means that you made armor for others.
We do fasts where they get 2 rules.
Okay, yeah. Fast. 2 actions a turn. Yeah, a turn's good language for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Anything else we want to add before, in the last 5 minutes before the third ad break? So we've got combat figured out, and skill checks in general figured out. We've got how the classes work. We've got how enemies work. We've figured out that the items are kind of just super names for something. And then there can be, like, artifacts, which are these items that are one-time uses that anyone can have, but you have to find them. And specialty items are kind of lumped in with artifacts. Then you have your class items, which are just like damaging items for the fighter, explorers, got traversal / environmental items, buff, debuff, healing items for the charmer. We've made the rule that multiples for modifiers are in multiples of 2, with 0, 1, 2 being kind of the standard if you're rolling to activate them. We figured out that there's 3 classes of enemies, where you have minions, mini-boss, and bosses. And we've got 6 total unique abilities. And we can just include in the, like, rough 1.0 of the system, we can just refer to it as... We can have a thing that's like... We just, like, or make your own. Just, like, include a or make your own at, like, the bottom.
We could put that in the, what do they call it? The forward, where...
That's true.
We just say, hey, everything's here is just guidelines.
Or just, this is a foundation. Feel free to build on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, I need to look into how to put licenses in, I'm realizing, but anything that I make during the 4-hour TRPG, probably any TRPG I build, honestly, being a Creative Commons style system, so that's like, if you use it, you just have to credit that, hey, I got it from here, do what you want with it. Because I like Creative Commons systems, such as powered by the Apocalypse Space Systems.
I like it.
Oh. Well, welcome.
Kind of open sourcing it.
Yeah. 1 second, I've got a raid. Well, welcome, School of the Cat. It has been a while. Today we are building a TRPG over the course of a 4-hour stream. I'm joined by my friend Cameron. And the game we're making is called Magical Handgun Kingdom. Over the course of the next hour after the upcoming ad break, we will be making a 1.0 version that will be uploaded so people can use it. I'd normally do a welcoming to explain who I am as a streamer, but we are on a time crunch, so... No, it's just a flat-out gun. But set during King Arthur's time, so it's a Western, but set in a fantasy universe.
We could make it like GURPS.
Oh my god, it is kind of like GURPS.
Yeah,
right.
It really is.
Man, we should have just started from there. That would have made this so much easier.
I mean, we got to where we are with the suggestion.
That's true. I mean, we literally got a random name for the system, and then we got a random die system we had to build it in, so... Well, we've got 30 seconds. Anything else you want to add, Cameron?
I think that's a pretty good foundation, I feel.
Yeah, I need to take allergy medicine during the break, but the ads are about to start in like 10 seconds if you want to just go do whatever you need to do, Cameron, because you'll have about 3 minutes.
Sounds good.
Because I'll just be setting up the next section. Sir Gun Knight, yes. Well, my favorite specific little joke that we made is that... Oh god, that's so bright. Welcome to the... I don't know what I've named the community, actually. I should come up with a name for the community. Anyway, we struggled with a lot for this one, but we were able to condense the basics down into 2 pages for what we're going to include in the final draft, or the first draft, technically. So, oh, I do not want that to be that. So the ads are going. They're 3 minutes. It's time to get up, drink, stretch, anything else you need to do. Hydrate, very important one for us here. But first, this is Magical... Oops. I can't spell. Magical Handgun Kingdom. By... Goblin Productions. Because that's the itch.io page I use. It's Goblin Productions. Which is a reference to something that I don't do anymore. Because I used to be goblin themed or demon themed, but now I am a kitsune, so very different. Magical Handgun Kingdom by Goblin Productions. Which Goblin Productions oh god, I hit Command Find. Oops. Do I need to add anything else to this, or is that enough? Made as a part of the 4-hour TRPG series. Because this is a series now. This is episode 3. This is the 3rd time I've made a TRPG over the course of 4 hours. Did it set it back to left aligned? Yes, it did. Okay. Something King Arthur for the flavor text. Something King Arthur for the flavor text. Because I like to do... Because I've kind of made a formula at this point, where the first little bit is there's a flavor text, like, excerpt to kind of set the mood for the universe, or the game system, and then we explain the rules very simply. Because we don't like to make things complicated, we like things to be simple. So, simple is the name of the game. Hey, Cameron.
Agreed.
We've got about 20 seconds. I'm just setting up some of the very basic stuff. Oh, you know what? Why didn't I just, 1 second. I'm switching to the chatting screen so they can't see me getting a link that I'm gonna send you. Restricted. Anyone with the link. Copy link. Done. Back to this. Discord. In the same place where I posted the link to the chat, or to my Twitch, I am posting the link to the document, so you can just look at the document by itself, and I'm going to stop screen sharing, if that's alright.
I got it.
Okay. Because it will make it a lot easier, overall, if I'm not having to worry about which one you're seeing and where I'm at. If you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see the section where I am currently at. Well, I don't want you guys getting into my stuff. Why would I give you guys the links? I'm just going to make the thing. It's going to be PDF, and then it's going to be uploaded to itch.io/Goblin Productions. Which, in case you didn't know, Cameron, that's what I use for itch.io, is Goblin Productions.
I love it.
And, Goblin Productions is basically me and anyone else who does shit with me. So, the flavor text I'll get to a little bit later, because that's more just, like, setting. Have fun. Enjoy your nap or sleep or whatever you're doing. Anyway. So, here's the important thing. How do we want to organize things? Because the flow of it is very important.
Start at the beginning with, I don't know, class choice.
I think it's going to be better if we start off with how rolling dice works.
Yeah, that's a better one to start with for sure.
The system uses D20s. The system uses D20s. One will be enough, but one per player is recommended. I feel like that's fair, because this makes it so a D20 is like less than $1 if you want to go just buy a single D20 at a game store. The system uses
plus
D20s.
Anyone playing this probably already has one.
Exactly. Or they can use Roll20, which is free. So there's like a lot of options. Because the dice are not something that I take into consideration too much with the ease of use for these. Because they're simple. But, you know, one will be enough, but one per player is recommended. Each roll follows a set number rule. 5 or less is a crit or is a miss. 6 through 15 is a hit. 16 plus is a crit. If you miss, you miss. You know, very self-explanatory there.
Straight to the point.
If you hit, you do.
You could say
one,
fail.
But that's true. Let's change it to fail. If you fail, you miss, or don't do what you were trying to do.
I think fail would have worked better too.
I think it's funnier though. You do 1 damage if an attack or if you hit 1 damage. 1 damage. If you hit 1 damage, I'm not gonna get too confused. If you, oh, I should make these all. I should capitalize these two. If you crit, 2 damage.
Favor.
Oh, that's true. I'm gonna do favor damage. Or modifier. Because that's like, if it's in parentheses, they're like, okay, there's an exception to the rule. I'll figure out what that is later. That's very simple. I say we start with 10 for the favor total. At the start of the game, each player, God damn it, has 10 favor. Start of the game, the player has 10 favor. Favor is your HP. Favor is your HP. Just do it as a single line like that. Favor is HP. That works. Favor is HP. I'm just getting the mechanics out, I think. Favor is HP. Anything else I should add into the favor descriptor? Because essentially all of the world building I'm going to do above all of this section right here. So it'll explain...
You could say favor is the driving mechanic, or the driving resource, instead of HP.
Is... the... HP / driving mechanic. Because I feel like some people get confused by driving mechanic, so I'm just going to do it like that. And because we kind of changed our mind on having the class abilities spend favor to use. Because it was just something that kind of fell apart when I was making this, and we went, oh wait, this is actually good.
Yeah. And on a fail, like, I think we left losing favor in there.
I think we shouldn't have you lose favor if you roll a 1.
Because if you crit, did we leave gain a favor?
We got rid of the gaining losing favor. I was gonna say, after an encounter, you gain 2 favor. We'll say at the end of every encounter, you just get 2 favor. If you rest, you recover all favor. If you have 0 favor, oops, you are incapacitated. So those are the ways everybody gains favor without having to use class abilities. Okay. There are 3 classes: Fighter, Explorer, and Charmer. There are 3 classes. Perfect. Fighters are good in combat. They crit. I'm gonna make it all. I'm gonna go through and change these to all caps. I'm realizing. Crit. Fell. This is such a thing that probably doesn't matter. To be all caps or not, but I'm doing it anyway. They crit on 11 plus if using their unique items or attacks.
I would just say checks, because unique items are going to change a lot, I think. So Hustle if.
I feel like if you say checks, then that's just going to be too vague.
No, that's... Yeah, I'm realizing that problem now.
Because if you say checks, then they're like, oh, well, I always crit on 11 plus?
But I don't think unique items should be included.
But then that kind of makes the Charmer useless with their healing ability. Which is an item.
No. Because if they use... Oh, I think I see what you're saying. No, I'm thinking unique items as a rarity, not as a...
Yeah, those are artifacts. I've decided unique items is artifacts. So fighter. Unique items all deal damage. Unique items are... No. Unique items are items that deal damage. Okay, real quick, actually. Items. It is assumed that between the players, they have access to all common items on them. Common items. Unique items are... Oh man, I can't spell today. Unique items are items specific to each class. Artifacts are one-time use items that are rare.
You could say they're just rule-breaking items that are rare. I don't know. I don't think we talked about artifacts a lot.
Artifacts are one-time use items that are rare, or are rare items that is how I'm going to change. I got this. Are rare items that either have one use or are powerful. No, I think it needs to be are rare items that have one use and are powerful. Have one use and are powerful. Sometimes they recharge between sessions. So this is kind of going back to the magic bullet that we ended up cutting.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like it's playing homage to that idea in a more concise way. I'm gonna do favor like this. Gonna cut that from there, and I'm just gonna put it. Favor is HP / the driving mechanic. The start of the game, each player has 10 favor. I'm gonna just call this gaining favor. After encountering, you gain 2 favor. If you rest, you recover all favor. If you have... Okay, this will just cut that. If you have 0 favor, you are incapacitated. Or the Charmer uses a special item. Or a unique item. uses their unique item. There we go. Took me a second, but I got there. Items, I'm just gonna put checks. Favor, gaining favor, items, separated them. Fighter is this. Explorer. Explorers. I can spell. Are good at traversing the environment and controlling the flow of combat.
Perfect.
They crit on 11 plus if traversing the environment or using their unique items. Unique items are items that control the environment yeah, that change the environment. Change the environment temporarily. That is not how temporarily is spelt. Thank God for spell check.
It's not.
Because I am shit at spelling. Partially because my mother was crazy and had me homeschooled till 5th grade, and she's not really good at teaching things. Is my caps on or off? It's on. Okay. Charmer. Charmers are charming.
Beautiful.
Oh my god. I don't know why that one hurt me so much, but it did.
You can say are the face man.
That's true. They crit on 11 plus in social situations and when using their... Oh, fuck, I didn't put unique item. Oh, God, no, I fucked up. I need to go change that. Oh, well, that's not hard. Unique items. Unique items are items that buff, debuff, or heal.
We could add summoning to that or the explorer.
I feel like summoning's too... Adding it now is not going to go well for us.
Fair.
If it was any other time in the conversation, that would be a great choice.
Fair.
In the forward, I've got it. This is a foundation. Feel free to build on it, such as adding a summoner class. Summoner class, unique abilities, or and so forth. I'm just going to change it and so forth. Because I can't think of a third thing.
Etc. etc.
Yep. I literally went, that's a great idea, Cameron. We don't have time for that shit. It's a great idea, but we don't have time for that. Items are already in here, right here. We're gonna do that because I don't want it on... I wanted to... Well, fuck. We're gonna have to add all the flavor text beforehand, so we don't know where that's actually gonna be. Never mind. Let's not do that. We discussed combat checks / combat. Crit, 2 favor, or modifiers. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna go over that one again. We'll save that for the GM section. We're in the GM section. Okay, never mind. GM section. So you decided to run this game, huh? Don't worry. The rules aren't super different for you. You just get to see how we suggest you build enemies. Yeah, I feel like that's right. Minions.
So far it checks out.
Minions are weak but plentiful. They have 1 favor and can attack. They have 1 favor and can attack. Yep, that's good. Mini bosses are strong, but not overpowering. They have between 2 they have 2/4 favor, 1, oops, that's a 2, unique ability, and can attack. Bosses are scary. Yep, let's go with scary. Yep, it's what I wrote. It's what we're going with.
Perfect. I love it.
They have 5 favor, 3 unique abilities, and can attack. Unique abilities. We split these into 2 categories. No, you do it like this. Activated and passive. I put too many L's in this one. Activated ability. Activated. I feel like if I have to explain activated, I'm not going to. That's too much. I'm assuming they can figure it out. Reinforcements. On crit, they summon one minion with one whoa, what did I just do? Oh, I just went full screen. How did I do that? Is that 11? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Crit, they summon one minion with one favor.
You could explain activated by saying crits activate. And then on these, you could say reinforcements, they summon one minion.
I'm just gonna say they have a trigger to use. Because if they want to build something, I don't want to be like, it's only on crits. Because they could decide, well, it'd be more interesting if I could activate it in this situation. Command. On crit. Fuck, I didn't put these in all caps. On crit, choose one minion to attack. Is P before or after R? I think it's before. Powerful. On crit, deal 3 favor damage instead of 2. Passive.
I was responding, but I forgot I was using push to talk, and I wasn't then.
Oh, I was just like, okay, Cameron's just leaving me in the lurch. I have to figure this out myself.
I was all like, yeah, P comes before R.
Oh, Cameron. Armorer. Minions.
Looks like we're in a commercial, by the way.
No, we're not. My ad's
anymore.
Ads start in half an hour.
I just swapped over and saw like a L'Oreal commercial.
Oh, well, I don't know. It might be just because you were off the page. An ad break might have started, but it didn't kick out. I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm guessing. They're not supposed to run ads unless you are, like, during an ad break, so I don't know what that is. Have +1 favor. Fast. You can take 2 actions per turn. Fortified. You have +3 favor. Yeah. Now we just need to do the flavor text. Okay. This is the hard part. Okay, fuck. What to do? I don't suppose you are experienced with narrating stuff during Arthurian times.
It could be any times. It's GURPS now.
Okay, but we've kind of leaned into an idea, so... in a realm of magic and dragons, there... This is stupid, but I love it. I'll
request edit access and see if I can't help out here.
Fair. There is one thing that is more powerful. Guns. In a realm of magic and dragons, there is one thing that is more powerful. Guns. Perfect. You know what? I don't think I have any notes. I'm going to keep this actually very short, I think. Basically, this is a system about playing a Western set in a fantasy realm. This is a foundation. Feel free to build on it, such as adding a summoner class, unique abilities, and so forth. As you can guess by the made as a part below the title, this was made very quickly. I think that might actually be it. I don't think we actually have any major notes I need to add. And the spacing worked out perfectly. That one page is dedicated just to the GM section.
Very nice.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised at how perfectly that automatically ended up being separated. Well, this is definitely faster than when I made Call of Darkness, because I was brushing up on that 4-hour mark by the time I finished it.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
I was worried when we were still 2 hours in and be like, I don't fucking know what we're doing. Genuinely, I was worried. This will be uploaded within 24 hours to Goblin Productions on itch.io. If I were smart, I would make sure I were including a link in the description when I upload these to YouTube, but I don't think I've done that at all. Anything you want to add, Cameron?
No, I think I'm good. I just need to figure out what this itch.io thing is.
So, it's a website, itch.io. Well, while you're figuring that out, I'm going to set up a raid.
Gotcha. I think I found it.
Well, that's good. So, for people who are still in stream, we're raiding into Lillystration. They are a Fox VTuber, so basically the same thing as me. They're playing Fallout 1 specifically. I haven't been up to date on their playthrough, so I have no idea what's going on for them right now. But that's what we're doing. I'm just going to hit raid now because I don't have any finishing thoughts unless you got something, Cameron.
Nope.